Hey guys, welcome back. Actually, I'm supposed to say, hey all you beautiful crafters, welcome back. Anyhow, I'm going to show a picture up here on the screen of what we're going to be making today. So if you want to learn how I make them, stick around. And I'm going to preface this and say I tend to talk a lot. Sometimes I overtalk, sometimes I stutter. Sometimes I act a little goofy. Yeah. You never know what you're getting into when you're here. But anyhow, if you want to learn how to make one of these, hang around. I promise it'll be rewarding. So I'm going to start out with the shirts that I chose. These are both Gildan brands. One is the Heather Orange and one is Heather Sapphire, I believe. I have a pair of scissors and my rotary cutting tool. And I went to Walmart and I bought this polyester fabric. I think it was $1.97 a yard. I'm going to show you right here the receipt. I bought 3 yards for $5.91. It's a pretty good deal, I think. I also have right here a cardboard shirt form that I got a 25 pack, I believe, off of Amazon. I will link these in the description below. I usually use these to bleach with. And these are the sublimation prints that I chose. So we have the Jack Freddy mix and the Gremlin. They are on 8.5 by 11 pieces of paper. And this is the hem bond. This is heat activated hem bond. It was less than $2 at Walmart. If I can find a link for it, I will link it in the description as well. The paper that I use is text print. I don't think that it's really going to make a difference as to what brand of paper that you use. I'm just going to let you know that the sublimation paper that I used is text print. It is important to remember, if you are new, that you can only use sublimation ink. That's the only type of ink that will transfer from the paper onto the fabric that we're going to be using. So right here you're going to see that I'm just choosing the orange to go with the Jack and the blue to go with the Gremlin, trying to match up the colors. And I'm going to put the shirt over the shirt form. Now I will let you know that this cardboard is very thin, and if you have to put a lot of pressure in with your rotary cutting tool, probably double up the cardboard or get an actual cutting mat. Make sure to inspect your shirts to find any kind of loose frayed seams, anything like that, anything that might be tearing, because if you're going to be making this for a customer, you do not want sleeves falling off or undesired holes in your shirt. So we just inspected, cut that off the armpit, and we're going to line up our sublimation print on the chest right here and kind of measure where we are going to start making our cuts for the peekaboo. I like to start any sublimation 3 finger widths down from the collar. Open the safety on your rotary cutting tool and cut just above the sublimation print itself. I cut it a little more narrow. So if the print is 8.5 wide, I would say cut it maybe 8 inches wide. So my recommendation on cutting these is to not cut any wider than the 8.5 by 11 or whatever size print that you actually choose to use. That way you have a little bit of a leeway. You're not going to have any of the white border from the polyester fabric. You'll have just the image itself bonded. Hopefully you won't be able to see any of the border around it. So I would say if you're doing an 8.5 by 11 like I am doing, maybe cut 8 by 10.5. So I've just made sure all the cuts made it all the way through the fabric. And now I'm just going to stretch it out just to make sure that after we bond the polyester fabric to this shirt, that the fabric that we did cut on this shirt doesn't loosen so much that it hangs awkwardly in front of the image. Which is another reason to cut your slits slightly shorter than the image itself, because after you stretch, you're going to have a little bit of extra extra area to show the image. So now I'm going to lay out my polyester fabric, and I struggled with this fabric because it was 6 yards. It wanted to fall off the table, kind of waterfall spill, if that makes sense. So I'm going to cut this fabric about 1/2 inch larger than my image itself, just to make sure that there's enough room for the bonding, the hem bonding tape, whatever it is that I'm using, just to make sure there's enough room around the image so that the glue, tape, whatever it is, doesn't get on the image itself. Also, my rotary tool did not like this fabric, so I would probably say to use your fabric cutting shears to cut this out because it wanted to fray a little bit, which it's going to be on the inside of the shirt. You're not really going to be able to see it, but it did kind of tug and cinch the fabric in certain areas, which was aggravating. So I would recommend probably using fabric shears over the rotary cutting tool. Spit it out. Thank you. So now I'm going to fast forward this, and we're going to do the blue shirt for the Gremlins. Just in case there was anything you missed, you'll be able to see it here, hopefully. So my heat press is set at 380 for 60 seconds. My heat press is set at 380 just because it tends to heat up a little higher than the 400. So I set it at 380 and it seems to work just fine. If you have a heat press, I would definitely recommend getting like an infrared thermometer and checking to make sure that your temperatures are spot on. But we are going to line this up. I did not have any parchment paper. I cannot seem to find it. So I used a piece of normal copy paper underneath and over top as my blowout paper. So here I am struggling to get this straight. As soon as I get that straight, we will press our images onto our polyester fabric. Again, I am pressing at 380 for 60 seconds. Here is the Gremlins, and now we are just going to repeat the process for the Jack Skellington piece. So here's going to be a close-up of the images that we just pressed. We are now going to be taking our shirts that we just cut the windows on the chest, and we're going to be turning them inside out. So now we're back over here at our heat press, and we are just going to line up our shirt on the press itself and get our sublimation piece, line it up over those cuts, and get your bonding tape. And we are going to cut the bonding tape to fit the white 1/2 inch area. Cut it just to size. This stuff makes a mess. If there's an abundance of it, it will make a mess. So after cutting all your strips to size, we're going to be placing these strips in between the shirt fabric and the sublimation patch that we just made. Now you can use an iron to do this if you don't want to use your heat press, but it takes 3 to 5 seconds. Just drop it and pop it back open and everything's good. I did it one more time for a few seconds just to make sure that it was bonded, and it's perfectly fine. So we're going to do that one more time for the Jack Skellington. So here we are back over at the table, and we are going to go ahead and flip these back out, make sure that everything is bonded the way it's supposed to be, and show you the final results. I will say right here on the Jack Skellington, you can see a little bit of the white polyester fabric. But it is going to be my personal shirt, so it's not going to bother me all that much. There is a little bit of room on the inside, so I'm just going to take my scissors and I'm going to cut open those slits a little further so that the image can be seen just a little bit more. Because it's bonded right there, I'm not worried about overcutting it now. And the last thing that I'm going to do, because this t-shirt form is so thin, I'm going to distress these shirts just a little bit, because in cutting certain areas, I did cut through to the back of the shirt. So I'm going to distress it and add a couple extra intentional holes. For those who may not have a rotary tool, it is just as easy to use a pair of scissors. Make sure they are fabric scissors so that they are good and sharp, but don't go out and buy anything extra just because you can get the same look using just a pair of good fabric shears.
No, I'm shutting it down when I pop out. Riding downtown with the top down. Sun's got everybody out now. Yeah. Riding with my girls looking so good. Playing my song, feeling so good. Only good vibes in my book. Yeah. All we wanna do is have a good time. I'm really loving the vibes, feeling so free in the light when I'm outside. And if you want to rewind, it's the summertime. To the beach, you can meet me there. Tell me when you get there. Texting this boy with the long hair. Yeah, sky so pretty as the sun sets. Tell me what we're about to do next. No one is ready to go home yet. Yeah, all we wanna do is have a good time.
I do hope that you enjoyed today's video. If you did, consider hitting that subscribe button. Also, consider hitting the bell notification so that you'll be notified every time that I upload a new video. I know that I haven't uploaded in a while, and I also know that this is a new thing to my YouTube channel. But I do hope to be doing more videos similar to this about sublimation. So we'd love for you to hit that bell notification so you'll know every time that I upload a video. Be sure to check the description box for any links that you may need, and leave a comment if you like this, or if you have any questions about something that you may need, or questions about the process. We'd be happy to help you. And y'all have a good day.